Got a brand new tea.
Well, I'm so excited about this podcast because I don't know you that well. I just know you, Joanna, from school.
Yep, a mom at school.
Mom at school. So we've always been friendly. We've always said hi, but I don't know you very well. So I was super excited when who recommended? Someone said
Megan. She was on a past podcast of yours.
Yes, she was. Yeah. Well, Megan I know fairly well. She's awesome.
She's a great friend too. And so she recommended I reach out.
Awesome. Well, perfect. So tell me why you're here.
Well, I wanted to share with you, I have a cannabis education podcast. So
really, what's it called?
It's called High on the Hog, the podcast.
Is it HIGH?
Yep, HIGH.
High on the Hog.
And my partner is my dad's best friend from elementary school, and my mom too, actually, growing up in the Bronx. His name's Merrill Schindler, and he's actually the Zagat editor.
Yeah.
He wrote for Casey Kasem for many, many years.
Amazing.
And the reason we got into this was he had some random skin autoimmune disease called bullous pemphigoid.
Oh, Lord. Bullous pemphigoid.
It sounds gross, and it is gross. It's
sounds like
blisters. It's like blistery skin everywhere that itches.
Oh, my God.
So after he went to like many doctors.
What causes that? Autoimmune.
Yeah, autoimmune.
Okay.
So once he figured out after seeing many doctors what it was, the medication was either really expensive, had many, many, many side effects, or just didn't work.
Right.
And someone gave him a jar of cannabis cream with THC in it and put it on, and the itching stopped.
Wow.
And we happened to be together, and he told me about this randomly because he shares his weird skin ailments.
Right.
And I was like, you should do a podcast. And I actually had a job working for a mom at our kids' school as well in cannabis. She had a corporate company, and I was doing brand development for her. And once I left that job, my friend Merrill called me and said, let's do it together. So we've been podcasting since January, and our goal is just to educate everyone on everything from THC to CBD.
Well, I am the best person because I know nothing. Now, as much as my husband knows everything, sort of, I know absolutely nothing. I smoked pot 4 times in my life. Okay. I threw up all 4 times.
Interesting.
I did, and I smoked pot like twice in New York, twice here. So there's no way it was the same pot, same strand, years apart. My body just didn't like it. Yeah. Whatever.
You know, there's an actual syndrome called Cannabis Hyperemesis that makes people vomit from it. So I wonder if you are actually one of those people who has it.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, well, I'm having a woman who has it come on my show next week, actually. So
interesting, because every time people are like, just smoke some weed, I'm like, pass. Yeah. I'm going to throw up. No, thanks. I can drink all day long, but I'm not smoking weed. But so I haven't had any curiosity about it because it's not something that my body likes.
Right.
But on the flip side, I injured my neck, and I went down the street here to a little shop and
Mosaic Wellness.
Yes, exactly.
My friend Karen owns that store.
I love that store. And I told her what was going on, and she gave me a pot of cannabis cream, and oh my God, it was like a miracle.
And let me guess, you didn't get high when you put it on your skin.
No.
That's one of the biggest myths out there. And what our show is trying to do is dispel those kind of myths and get rid of the stoner stigma, you know?
Right.
I think everyone I know either smokes marijuana, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, or uses it in some way to make their life better.
Right.
It's 2019.
Yeah.
It's legal in so many states, and people are now open about it. And I used to be a closeted cannabis user, and now I just don't care. So,
wow. Well, you know, I never cared if anybody else smoked pot. I had no negative stigma toward pot ever. But it just didn't work for me.
Right.
So,
well, in this day and age, it's medicine for people is really what it's come down to. And so I brought a few different items if you want to. I just wanted to show you some things.
Yeah.
To, you know, everyone knows about the dispensaries you can go into, the MedMen,
right,
or the local stores around your neighborhood, which we have, I think, more in our area than 7-Elevens or coffee.
Yeah,
Starbucks.
I heard that. Well, wait, let's back before you tell me about product. Let's break down. I'm going to get the terms even wrong.
Yeah.
CBD and THC. What's the difference?
So,
because most people listening don't live in LA.
Correct.
So they aren't living in a place where pot's legal. I don't know, like in Georgia, where I'm from, pot is still very bad.
Correct.
And so even my dad was out here and I was like, you got to try this cream, and put the cream on. He's like, that's the best thing I've ever used. Exactly. So they just don't have any knowledge. Not everybody, obviously, but there are a lot of people, I think, in other places where it's not legal, where they still think it's a really bad thing.
Yes, I agree with that. So let me start with, I'm not an expert by any means.
Right.
I'm just an educator, informant, enthusiast.
Yes.
Worker in the industry. So CBD and THC are 2 extracts from the cannabis plant, and there's many, many, many more. We just haven't identified them yet.
Right. Okay.
And so those are the 2 most popular ones that people are using. Now you're hearing THV and CBG and all different letters that are changing on the end, which we'll be hearing more about in the future as now research is being done.
Right.
But CBD is the non-psychoactive part of the plant.
Okay.
And so there's 2 different, you can buy CBD in Whole Foods, you can buy it at Erewhon, you can buy it at Bed Bath & Beyond now.
Right.
And CBD is the biggest trend right now in the wellness space.
Right.
It's a vitamin. You're supposed to incorporate it into your daily habits.
Why?
It helps with inflammation.
Okay.
It helps with all these ailments that we need more research on, but inflammation's the major one.
Right.
But you can use it in your body. You can use it on your body. You can take a gel cap. There's so many different ways to take it. So you've seen people put oil under their tongue.
Right.
There's sprays, there's sublinguals, there's shampoo, there's toilet paper. I mean, anything.
Toilet paper?
Anything you can imagine with CBD,
right?
It's out there.
Why would you have CBD on toilet paper?
Because someone's tushy might get a little inflamed, hemorrhoids,
So it's monkey butt prevention?
Yeah, seriously.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, there's some amazing medical uses for it, which is what we'll talk about eventually. And then THC is what you think. It's the stuff that gets you high. It's in flower. They call buds or whatever, the little nugs. They call it flower to sound really pretty now.
Yeah, it is very
and
pretty.
less stonerish, I guess. But you can get pre-rolls already made. You can get anything.
What's a pre-roll? What do you mean?
A pre-roll is a joint that comes in like a container. You can get one. There's a brand that has like 5 joints and it comes with matches and the strike on. So it's like all encompassing. So you're never looking for the lighter. Remember in high school?
It's like a gift pack.
Yes, yes. So yeah, the THC comes in all different forms. You can get it in a drink, in edibles, chocolates, gummies, you name it. It's the same kind of thing. It's such an emerging industry. And by working in it, I see so much of it that I'm not even like fazed by it. But then I talk to people, friends, colleagues who don't work in the industry and they're like, what? You can get that? Or, people who are sick with cancer. And I tell them like, oh, you can get these suppositories to help. And they're like, what? And so we're here to educate and just help spread the word because there's so many people with stories, and that's really what it is. We find people with these amazing stories who sometimes found their own company or invented something or just is trying to make the world a better place through their own experience.
Right. And it sounds like it was such a powerful, life-changing experience for your partner if he was having this terrible autoimmune problem.
Yes.
And something as simple as a cream could fix it. You'd want people to know about that. I mean, you want to shout it from the treetops because that's really great. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and there's so many ailments that you can use different products for. Fibromyalgia is a big one. Anxiety, sleep. And you can either do just CBD or you can do, some people say you have to have a little THC with the CBD to make it work. But the thing is everyone's body is very different. So you have to do what's specific to you.
Right.
And that's what the challenge is today is like, you can ask me, what should I take? And I can't tell you what to take.
Right.
It's trial and error right now.
I see.
And what works for me might not work for you because it sounds like you're atypical also.
Uh-huh. In so many ways. But yeah, Bert went to, is it called Sweet Flower?
Yes. Yep.
He went to Sweet Flower and I went with him because he didn't have a debit card. So I was like, well, I'm your money mama today.
Yep.
And I was in there and I was like, I would like to try something for sleep. So let me know what I could try for sleep. And she gave me something that had a touch of THC in it, just a touch. And I took it that night and I could see starbursts on the inside of my eyelids as soon as I closed my eyes the whole night. And I didn't sleep at all.
Oh, you didn't sleep?
I could not sleep at all. And I was like, screw this thing.
Yeah.
I know CBD, I can't do THC. For me, I guess that's what it is.
Maybe someone gave you an indica, which is sometimes used for sleep. And since you sound like you're atypical, it could have had the opposite effect, and therefore you're
Oh.
awake and you're like, shit.
So we'll explain that. Indica and Sativa.
So yeah,
Is it-
there's two different what they call strain types, Indica and Sativa, and there's talk in the industry about going away from that because like,
Why?
what does it mean? Because most plants are hybrid plants anyway. It's when they're making the genetics of like splicing the seeds and all the stuff we didn't pay attention to in science class in high school.
Right.
All those guys who did are making a ton of money and doing really well in the cannabis industry.
So then, if Isla did her last science report on Gregor Mendel, who was the father of genetics and was doing that with plants, maybe this is her future. Maybe
Yes.
we've found her future.
Yes. I'm fascinated by it. Like you can make tomatoes or you can make cannabis plants. So.
Right. Crazy.
But yeah, indica is usually like they say, like the nighttime, the sleep, the couch lock, like the the laziness. Sativa is usually more of an up, energetic. They say daytime. But what the brands are all doing in the industry, since indica and sativa don't really mean anything really, is they're just trying to use words to describe the feelings and effects. So like there's some brands that'll say like charge or connected or awaken. So you can use those adjectives to help you purchase your, products based on that. It's more, we can relate to it. Better than
Right.
You don't know what an indica or a sativa is going to do to you, but if something says sleep, you're going to try it if you're needing sleep.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
It is really interesting. I mean, everybody. It's so crazy. I think the way medicine works today is we just left behind so much knowledge from generations and generations. When all this modern medicine came about in the late 1800s, we just kind of stopped doing natural stuff. I feel like, and that knowledge that was passed down for thousands of years, kind of left in a lot of ways. And there's so much value to Chinese medicine and this type of medicine.
So cannabis has been used forever. What ended
would
up, you know what
imagine.
happened is the 1980s came around and Nancy Reagan
Ah,
told us say no to drugs.
Right.
Seriously. And we were all taught that cannabis or drugs are bad.
well, pot was the gateway drug.
Yeah. And it was the gateway drug and all that is incorrect information.
Totally. The gateway drug is cocaine.
Yes. I
In my
believe that.
opinion, that's the gateway drug. It's not pot.
Yeah, no one's ever died from cannabis.
No.
The only way you can die from cannabis
Uh-huh.
is if it drops on you in like a heavy bag and it's like 2,500 tons or something ridiculous.
If
That's
a cannabis truck runs over you while you're
Yes.
crossing the street.
yeah,
There's this awesome rap song. There's this rap group that's from London. And this rap song is old. It's probably 17 years old. And it's these two guys. They sound, I may have this really wrong. They sound Cockney. They have a really deep, thick, not typical British accent. And they are rap battling beer versus pot.
oh wow.
And it is the funniest rap because the beer guy is so confrontational and so aggressive.
Right.
Oh, you want to fight? I'll fight with you. And then the pot guy's like, we're the nicest people. We just want to eat pizza and sit on the couch. And we're not going to bother anybody, but we are the criminals. And you spend all weekend completely obliterated is legal. It doesn't make sense. It's just amazing rap. And I can't remember the name of the group, but I used to listen to it all the time and go, that's so amazing. If we could just wrap our heads around that in the U.S. Was it? Oh, God, I don't know. Is that it? You have to play a little bit of it, for me to remember.
That's funny.
But it's a cool rap
Yeah, yeah.
song.
And it's interesting. You say, I don't actually drink anymore. I stopped drinking because it made me feel horrible.
Right.
I had this one night where I went out with a bunch of my friends from college and I drank like one glass of champagne and I went downhill so fast that I never want to feel that way again.
Yeah.
I've never felt that way since.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a cold, clammy, like restless body syndrome.
Huh.
And I was like, I don't need a drink ever again after that. And so I've substituted cannabis instead. So like people laugh, they'll be like, you don't want to go out and drink? And I'm like, I've already had a little something. You
Right.
know, I'll have like mints in my purse.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. But it's a much better feeling for me.
Right.
Gives me a little skip in my step.
So how do you or do you talk to your kids about cannabis?
So I was on the fence about that. That's a great question. When I first started working in cannabis about 2 years ago, I had a career in like online advertising for like 10 plus years. And so when I made this switch, I just wanted to do something a little different. And I knew cannabis was where, like where things were going as far as like an exciting industry. And so I went into my kid's school. I went into and I asked the teacher to see the drug and alcohol book. And I wanted to see what they were learning.
Right.
And she showed me the page out of the book, and it says like marijuana is bad. It might help cancer people. Like it might. And so my husband and I talked about it, and I was like, well, I work in the industry. Do we want to hide it from our kids?
Right.
Who are in elementary school, middle school age. And we decided no.
Yeah.
Because if you hide it from them, they're going to be even more curious about it.
Totally.
And so my son knows I have a cannabis podcast. He jokes occasionally. He's like, smoke weed every day, Mom. And I don't really answer anything back.
Yeah.
But he's never seen it in our house.
Yeah.
He's never smelt it in our house.
Right.
My daughter's younger, so she's not really that in tune with it. But, you know, he watches videos and is into rap music where they talk about it a lot. And it's just part of their life. It's legal now. It's not, there's nothing to be, it's just part of the conversation is how we incorporated it. And so our kids just know.
Right. Well, that's good.
I mean, like I'm not going to leave it out and be like, hey, there's my edibles. Don't touch that. I mean, granted, they're in a child resistant container, so I don't need to worry.
Right.
But I'm also not dumb.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. I think people with kids are hesitant to bring it in the house. Like we have pot in our house. Our kids are older. They're 13 and 15. So in some ways, that's even worse because that's when they're going to recreational try pot, right?
But you're making it normal by having it like growing in your garage.
Yeah, we are growing it in our garage. Yes. So, but we've had conversations too about pot, about all drugs in general, about anything that alters what's going on in your chemical makeup is not good while your brain's growing. Period. It could be meth, it could be cocaine, it could be alcohol, it could be marijuana. That we treat them all the same as far as our conversation about what you put in your body because your brain develops until you're about 23. And so give your brain its space.
Yep.
And you know, pressure happens. Things happen in high school. If you're going to make that choice, then you're going to make that choice, but at least make it from an informed place. That even though cannabis is of all of the things I listed, the most natural, we still don't know everything. Like you said, there's so much research that's still coming that to me, I hesitate to give my kids aspirin because I think, well, their brain's growing because I don't really know what that's doing when your brain's growing. So I'm not saying that.
And think about the people who have to medicate their kids.
Totally.
Like for whatever issues you know, obviously you should treat your children as needed. But there's a whole world of parents out there who use CBD to treat their children with autism.
Which would be amazing because it's natural.
And I'm on this parents group on Facebook about it. And it's so interesting just to see the conversation because no one knows how to dose their children.
Right.
And it sounds bad, like I'm dosing my kid, but like you have to start small and go bigger. And they're coaching each other.
Right.
And they're learning through trial and error, and they've become experts because their kids are either violent or can't sleep and they're up all night. Like so, these people have to do that through necessity,
right?
And they've become experts. And how do we get that knowledge out? And where are these research and scientists behind it to show, like, yes, here's how these plants can help these children,
right? You know what's interesting to me is when I go to the medical doctor, right? And say, well, really it's only happened with the vet. So I have a dog that has no cartilage and no meniscus in one leg. And she's 130 pounds. So if she were a 15-pound dog, it would not be a big deal. But because she's so big, it's a big deal. It's very painful for her. So she's on a pain medication, a narcotic, like a highly regulated narcotic for her pain management. And I asked the vet,
so your dog's like an opioid addict?
Totally. She's totally. I keep her regulated.
Sorry.
4 pills a day, and that's it. She scratches at the door. That's her problem. No.
That's what we call that microdosing.
Okay, she's microdosed. Yes, she's a microdosed opiate addict. Yes, but I think a 130-pound dog in massive pain, it would be worse than an opiate addicted dog.
You're controlling it.
Totally. Managing it, managing the teeth in the mouth. But I go to the vet and I go, so much chemical in her body. And we have to test her blood every 6 months to make sure her liver is not negatively affected by this management of her pain. So I'd asked him about marijuana or CBD or whatever the correct term is. I asked him about that. And he said, for me as a medical professional, I feel there is not enough research for me to comfortably say, let's take her off the narcotic and put her on the marijuana. So I wonder if that is true of the medical profession in general, even though veterinary.
So two things.
You know.
One, I would refer you to Dr. Tim Shue.
Uh-huh.
He's a veterinary doctor who is a specialist with CBD.
Right.
He's in LA local. We actually did an episode on my podcast with him.
That's cool. I'll
He's
listen
great.
to that episode.
I just saw him this past week. He's fantastic. So that's what we try and do, marry topics with experts and, and get them to speak. But right now, all the universities and medical schools and veterinary schools are adding cannabis into their education.
That's awesome.
You can get degrees at universities across the country right now in cannabis, whether it's
awesome.
growing, you wouldn't believe it's like Animal House, but
So then why isn't it federally legal?
Because they haven't figured out how to capitalize on it and make their own money.
Tax it.
So yeah, they're just figuring it out, and so it'll happen.
Why can't they treat it like gasoline or tobacco? It's a huge tax on tobacco.
It will. We'll see it in our lifetime for sure. It's just, again, they're just trying to figure out how they can all align themselves to make themselves wealthier once they leave office and be.
I don't know. I think that's part of it, but I think there are parts of the country that really do have that stigma and are not letting go of it.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the South. Definitely will I used to live in the South as well.
The last to fall.
Yeah,
it may be the last to fall.
Yeah, but it's happening. So this is interesting. I met this young woman recently. She started a canna club at UCLA. So there's university clubs, like, you could join like the Hillel or like the eco-friendly club. Now you can join like a cannabis club and find, enthusiasts and get together that way. So it's happening all over.
That's so cool.
Where people are joining together and getting rid of the stigma.
That's good. But that's good. I think it's time. I think it's time that it's just made legal, and we do profit from it. Not only in our health and well-being and our wellness, but to profit from it financially.
Yeah.
I mean, if we legalize pot, how much money would that flood through taxes into our government to fund? Maybe we make it something specific, or maybe it just funds our fucking deficit.
No, Leanne, I think we fixed the fucking California schools. Los Angeles
well, honey,
schools.
you preaching to the choir. Let me tell you something. Not
this
just
is
LA.
what we need to do. There is $100 million in tax revenue in California at the minimum per quarter that is going into a general fund in our state. That's not considering this the county and the city level.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to create awareness for this money and why it's not being used to fix our schools. Colorado has already done it as a model.
Right.
They have amazing schools.
Mm-hmm.
California spends $80,000 a year on prisoners and $10,000 on kids.
Yep.
And we need to flip that model. And they're complaining they're poor when there's a surplus, and there's a surplus of revenue because of cannabis.
I agree with you, honey. You are so preaching to the choir. It's such a broken system here. You know what's really embarrassing to me is I go home to Georgia, and I am so impressed with their educational system compared to ours. And we're supposed to be this progressive, forward-thinking, liberal state. And where schools are concerned, I just don't agree with that. I mean, my daughter is dyslexic, and in Georgia, they treat dyslexia so openly and very differently. And it wasn't even identified as a disorder in the state of California until 2 years ago. A child psychologist working in a school doing an IEP assessment could not diagnose a child with dyslexia until 2 years ago. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you know that 20% of the population has dyslexia in some form. So 1 out of 5 children in a classroom is not a typical learner because of that learning disability, and they don't even recognize it.
Yeah,
that's only one problem.
Well, let's fix our schools. You and me will start right here.
Let me tell you something. You don't want me on my soapbox. I think there should be more vocational schools. I think there should be more avenues to non-4-year degree colleges. And I think there should be so much more social work type support in most schools. I think they should almost have, this is an exaggeration, a little bit hyperbole, but they should almost have as many school psychologists, sociologists as they do teachers.
Oh,
because
I agree.
In so many communities, it's about a lack of support at home in its entirety with food, emotion, everything. And so where are they supposed to get it?
Yeah, I know. They have to go to school to get it.
They have to go to school to get food. And they need that. Well, if the food, you're just giving them food, they also need that support anyway. We're supposed to be talking about cannabis. But I think you're right. That $100 million a quarter.
And that was like from 2018. So think about how big the market has grown.
Totally.
And there's a huge black market still. So what's happening right now is we're losing out on so much tax money because there's there's half the stores in our area are not legal.
Wait. Okay, then explain the black market to me because I was like,
So
what?
there are
There's still
stores.
hustlers on the street,
No,
like
well,
selling.
there are
joint-
there are the hustlers on the street selling them out of their car, I'm sure. But there are stores that aren't legal, and you wouldn't have any idea they are legal
But
or
why
not
aren't they
unless
legal?
you check because they don't have a license. You have to apply in the state to have a California license
I
or a
see.
city license, and they should actually make you put it in the window.
Yeah.
Like I've seen certain stores just do it to be on the up and up.
Right.
But like, you know, you have restaurants with like
Yeah.
the rating, they should make you have your cannabis license in the window. But a big hint to know if the store isn't legal, is it running on a generator? Are there lights on? You'd be surprised. There are stores that have.
Is it running on a generator?
Yeah. So what the city does is they shut off their power to try and push these stores out. And so they just turn around and put their store on a generator.
Oh my God.
I've seen it. Lines are out the door on those stores. That's what's
but
crazy.
why are lines out the door on
Because
those
they don't
stores?
charge the taxes.
It's
and
cheaper.
so it's cheaper.
Got it.
But it's also so right now, if you're going to buy flower cannabis in the store, it's in a jar prepackaged,
Yes.
sealed,
Yeah.
and you can see a sample before you leave, but they give it to you in a jar. These have giant jars where they like dump it on the counter and dirty fingernails are like fluffing it up, looking for the buds, sticking them in your bag.
Dirty fingernails.
But
are
it's
fluffing it.
super easy for the Bureau of Cannabis Control to go in and shut these stores down, and they're not. And I don't know why.
Why? Are they overrun? Do they not have enough staff to do that?
Who knows? I actually look for jobs occasionally just to humor myself to see if I could find one in LA, but they never have any in LA
Available?
that I've seen posted. I check every once in a while, but yeah, so I don't know why they allow it. Maybe it's, who knows? It could be criminal collusion,
Laundering.
you never know.
All kinds of possibilities. That's so interesting.
Yeah, so that's part of it. And then there's delivery services, which are
Yes.
kind of interesting. I don't know if you're up for it, but we could actually do a little demonstration.
Sure.
Our friends over at Ease, which is a delivery service, gave us a coupon code today. Actually, let me see what it is.
So Ease is an LA local.
Yeah, and it's a website.
Okay.
And you go on through your phone.
Is it EAZE?
Yep,
Okay.
EAZE.com.
Okay.
And if you use the word wife, they'll give you $20 off your first cannabis delivery.
Amazing. What should I order? Well, I don't have my phone. I can't order anything. My phone's in the
Do
house.
you want me to order it or you want to order it? Okay, cool. I'll order something. So we'll talk it through. It's super easy. I just have to put your address in, but hold on. I'm not going to say it out loud. I have it.
We can chat. Do you smoke weed? Are you a bowler?
A bowler. Yeah, to go to sleep for sure.
Yeah.
And anxiety as well. It's helped me tremendously. I don't like to talk about this part too much because I don't want people feeling sorry for me, but I have an inflammatory disease in my back.
You do?
Yeah, I have ankylosing spondylitis.
What?
Yeah, it's really.
And
I've never even heard
Do
that.
you know who Mick Mars is from Motley Crue?
Yes.
He's got that. That's why he's
Oh.
like all crippled and stuff.
Oh.
I might need your Wi-Fi.
Okay. Here. I didn't know that, Austin.
Yeah, it's not as bad as his, but it's still there, and I was diagnosed in like 11 years ago or something. So I've had it for a long time since I was in high school, and it seemed to really help me. And
How does it help you? Because it's an inflammatory disease, right?
yeah, it's
Got it.
inflammatory.
So funny. I was just thinking about Mick Mars like 2 days ago and wondering how his health was because I knew he had some
yeah,
degenerative problem.
he's doing okay from what I hear.
That's great.
Yeah, he's. I think he's doing good in retirement, being on the road for so. I know a bunch of people from that world because of
Right.
my friend James. But yeah, retirement's probably
The best thing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was older anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah,
He was probably in his 60s.
Yeah, he's in his late 60s now, I
Yeah.
believe.
Um,
But yeah, it's helped me a lot, and I I didn't know that the store I went to was illegal.
Oh, so did
Oh,
I just
yeah?
take
You're
you
like,
off?
oh, when they dump the jars off in the counter and like
Oh.
do their thing. I was like,
oops.
oh,
Oops.
they have billboards for that store too. They don't care.
Yeah, isn't that
That's
interesting?
kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, they have people doing dabs in there. I don't think you're supposed
What's
to.
a dab?
Oh, it's a whole
Oh
other
yeah,
ball
we'll
game.
talk about that.
What's a dab? I thought that was like a dance move.
So, right? Well, the kids are dabbing, and you're like, holy shit, they shouldn't be. So, I've been to parties now where they have dab bars.
What is
Like,
a dab?
It's it looks like a crazy glass bong, and it's a
Okay.
concentrate of cannabis that you're pudding. So imagine like taking a plant and just pressing it and taking all the oil out.
Oh.
And then once you get that oil, it's a nice thick oil, and you put it in this bong looking thing. And then you take like a campfire torch and you burn it, and it creates a really high concentrated high for people. And I, for a while, was like, this jumps the shark. This isn't medicated. This is nothing. But I actually, through my podcast, have talked to people who are so ill from cancer that dabbing is their only way to feel better.
Wow.
And so I've had a change of heart on thinking it's like hardcore when someone pulls out a dab rig at 8 a.m, which I've seen.
Right.
But I've also been to like parties where they have a whole like open dab bar, and you're like, oh my God, that's really cool. It doesn't do anything to me, which is kind of funny. It supposedly gets you really high.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't work on me. I know that sounds funny. All right. So I'm going to order something from Ease, and we're going to just see how quickly we can get it. It's pretty funny. I love how in our neighborhood, it comes really quickly.
That is pretty funny.
Can I bring them back here?
All the soccer moms.
I don't know if they're going to want to.
Yeah. I don't know if they're allowed to.
But don't forget to use the word wife on your order.
Yes.
And
it gives you $20 off your first order. That's pretty big.
That was really cool of them.
That's very cool. Thank you, Ease. Yeah. Well, still, that's $20 is $20, man.
It helps for sure. Yeah.
That's several trips to Starbucks for me.
Right.
That's awesome. No, maybe if they want to come back, they can come here, and then they won't be on camera if they want to stand at the door.
Okay.
If they want to.
All right. So let's start the timer.
Okay.
I just got it.
I have a timer on my watch.
Okay, cool. I just want to see how fast they get here.
Oh no, that's not a timer.
Stopwatch.
Stopwatch. Yeah. Go. I don't actually know how to read this.
See, I'm old school. I like flour still, so I just prefer that. And you can put it like nowadays, people buy, you know how people are, we can talk vapes in a second, but you can buy a vapor pen thing. It's called a vaporizer that you crush up the flour in, and then you put it in there, and it like heats it without like a strong fire.
Yeah.
And it's a much better, cleaner way to smoke the flour, apparently.
Interesting, huh? I know Bert has vape pens, I think, and I don't know that he really does edibles much, but
I think something to talk about with the vape crisis that's going on is what's interesting that I don't think people realize is there's a company within the industry called Can Safe, and they are testing all the brands in California right now openly, and then they're posting their results on Instagram. So you don't have to worry if Bert has a bunch of pens. As long as they're purchased in a legal store, you're fine.
Are you kidding?
So
he's so scared of his health.
Most people are purchasing them in a legal store, but like my mom called me and she's like, what do I do about my pens? I was like, you bought them in a store. They're fine. Don't worry.
Right.
So
what was it called? Can Safe?
Canna Safe?
Canna Safe. Okay.
Hold on. Let me double check.
Yeah. The news is kind of reporting that it's like, oh, vaping. And they're showing different like nicotine vapes and like, they're saying, oh, it's THC and stuff. But really, it's a lot of black market stuff. I think it's up to 1,000 deaths now in the United States.
Oh my God.
Maybe 1,100. And most of those, from what I hear, are illegal THC cartridges from the black market.
Yeah. And so it's Canna Safe.
Canna Safe.
And you can find them on Instagram at that name. And they'll tell you, and they're testing them for free. If you have one in question, you can give it to them and they'll test it.
That's amazing.
So it was pretty cool. The industry's quickly gotten behind it because they need to show that their stuff is on the up and up.
Right.
I don't know if you read in the news last week, there's a company that was raided out here in the Valley, and they had a regular operation going on the one side, and then they had a black market operation going on the other side. So what's happening is California has extremely stringent testing that you have to go through to have your products be put in a store.
Right.
Now, you own a business, say, Leanne, and all your stuff doesn't pass testing. You're going to be really upset that you've made and created all this stuff and it can't be for sale. You're supposed to legally destroy it.
Right.
And I know you would probably legally destroy it, but there's companies that aren't, and they're turning it around and selling it on the black market.
At the back door.
That's what's getting the people sick.
Got it.
And I think the CEO even commented like, oh, it was an old warehouse that they raided. And it's like, well, why is it in a box?
Yeah, right.
You know, like it shouldn't be packaged up if it's at that point.
Yeah.
So Anyway, it's a good point to make that most stuff in California, if you purchase it in a store, is perfectly fine.
Right. So to go the legal route,
Yes.
to stay the legal route, and then you're getting quality goods that have been tested and certified in certain ways. I guess is that the right term?
Yeah.
And nothing's harmful.
Correct.
To you. Well, tell me what you brought.
Yeah,
while
so
we're
I
waiting on
wanted
our
to
delivery.
bring a show and tell. I know everyone thinks of the typical items you find in a store. Like right now in California, if you want to buy anything THC, you go to a dispensary,
Mhm.
and in CBD you can find anywhere. So I brought a mixture of items. Should I bring my microphone with
No,
me?
how would we do that?
I'll just sit up here. Can I pull the table towards me? All right. So I brought a bunch of fun items and to be clear, I don't work for any of these companies. These were just all hand curated is the buzzword.
Oh, awesome.
Of just items I figured you would be interested in and
Yeah,
people
totally.
around the world who have no idea what goes on in the industry can see. So I think I'll start with what are my favorites. These are my favorites, actually, these Plus gummies. They come in the cutest little tin, but they're edibles. They come in, I think they're 2 milligrams CBD, 20 pieces.
What's the purpose of
They're
them?
5 milligram THC.
I
So like
see.
if I go out at night,
Yeah.
I'll eat like a little bit of this.
Okay.
And I'll have a great
So that's your
time.
fun gummy.
This is my drink.
Got it. That's your fun gummy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's actually called Uplift.
Oh, okay.
They taste great. They're discreet. They stay shut. Like my kids can't open them.
Okay, because they're childproof.
Yeah, I
locked.
can put it in my purse.
Oh, well, that's good to
but they're
know.
5 milligrams. So that's a little strong for people. I would actually eat half to start if I was somebody. These are also my favorites. They're Petra Mints. They have 2.5 milligrams of CBD THC. So
And those are uplift type.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They're sativa, they'll say.
And you would buy these at one of the dispensaries
Yeah, you
that
can
we were
get it-
talking about.
Yep.
Yes.
You
Okay.
can get it anywhere or they'll deliver them.
Not at 7-Eleven yet.
No. And then staying in the edible category, which is interesting too. Like in Pennsylvania, edibles are not legal.
Really?
Yeah. And I think it's because they're worried that kids are going to get to them.
Ah, I see.
However, my friends over at Pantry, this is a fantastic brand.
It's a beautiful branding.
Right? So my friend Paul and Scott actually run this company, and this is one of their sample packs. And so you can see what they've
Beautiful.
done is their target is the conscious consumer. So these are healthy edibles.
Okay.
Most people don't want candy
Right.
with their edibles because it's just like, we're health conscious. We want to be conscious of what we're putting in our body.
Yeah.
And so the guys over at Pantry really took that to heart and teamed up with these two chefs out of New York called the Franks. And they're using food recipes and then adding cannabis into them to make them even better. So the Franks are known for their olive oil. It's one of the top selling olive oils in Whole Foods. And so they're working on an infused version. And then they have a little chocolate with the infused olive oil.
Oh, let me see.
So there's a little map. You can read them on
Oh,
there.
look, there's a map.
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
you can feel free to sample
I'm
them.
gonna go like
Those
this.
are non-infused. Just,
Oh, I just dropped one.
oh, it's okay.
Oops. So
But so what's cool about them is they
sorry.
have,
Second rule.
right? They have
Sorry.
Keto Bites.
Oh, no way.
So like this, like I would love this as a hostess gift for the holiday.
yeah.
Like, don't bring me a bottle of wine. Bring me a box of like Pantry Keto Bites.
So then, wait. So if you eat this, how do I know this is what this is going to do to me?
This
So
isn't going to do anything to you because this is just
Okay.
a non-infused package. So you could
Got it.
taste what they actually taste like.
Got it. Okay.
They want you to be like, they're not candy. It's,
I see. That would be my question. If someone showed up with this for me as a hostess gift, I'd go, but what's it going to do to me?
Right. So I would say, okay, there's 20 bites and there's 3 milligrams each. So I would start with one bite.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
Wait at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't make the mistake of taking another one 20 minutes in and saying, I don't feel it.
Okay.
I repeat, do not eat more when you're not feeling it 25 minutes in. I've made that mistake with my mother and I had to pick her up off the floor like hours later. And then I had to call my dad and explain to him what I did to her.
I've seen that mistake happen with one of my friends. I won't say any names, but we'll say she's Vietnamese.
Yes.
Whereas
Well-
she says, "Hey, Bert Kreischer, I'm not feeling this," and Bert Kreischer goes, "We'll just do one more," and then 20 minutes later, she's dead.
Yes. So we've all had a friend like that.
Yeah.
Mine isn't Vietnamese, but I'll tell you as a trick, apparently there's two in the industry.
There's two tricks.
Yeah.
What are these
CBD. So if you have CBD handy, it's supposedly the antidote. So like, or peppercorn.
Oh, interesting.
I just heard about the peppercorn and never go to the hospital.
But what do you do with peppercorn? I mean, that's got to be strong.
Yeah, but if
You
you're
just swallow it
wasted
like a
on the
pill?
floor, like I think eat it, just like crunch it. Who knows?
Fuck that, man. I'd be sick.
Yeah.
But surely you could just swallow it.
Then you're like vomiting the peppercorn.
Exactly for me. I'd be vomiting peppercorn and CBD. Yes. So wait, this is I didn't really get it clear. What is
Okay,
this?
so that's just
Keto Bites.
Keto Bites. So
Okay.
they're really healthy. It's something you'd want to eat. You'd eat it without the THC. So they added a little THC to just put a spring in your step.
I see. Okay.
Okay, this is cool. So we were talking about vapor pens.
Mhm.
Our friends at Candescent actually made their vapor pen look like a pen.
That's
You
cool.
want to go
Here,
put
I'll
it
do
up on but so like you could put it in your breast pocket at work
Looks like a pen.
and no one would know that you're actually going to go smoke
Pretty cool.
unless they actually have their own version. And then they're like, hey, let's go meet in the lobby.
Bring the pen. We need to
And
sign the
they're known-
document.
They're known for their orange packaging. They have
Nice.
pretty nice packaging.
That's cool.
There's even CBD skincare.
Yeah.
So this is my friend Janice, actually. She developed this. What's unique about this is it's all cruelty free. So it's
Mm-hmm.
Leaping Bunny certified.
Nice.
And if you look at the ingredients, guess what? The first one is not water. It's aloe. So it's all natural. And the whole thing with CBD is anti-inflammatory, anti-aging. So you could put it on your skin topically, and then you could also ingest it.
That makes sense. And it's called Elevate.
Elevate,
Right?
yep.
How does a person find that? I can't read that.
Elevate CBDcosmetics.com. You could go to
Awesome.
the Antidote store on Melrose and ask for Janice and say hello. She's
Mhm.
my partner actually on the podcast.
Oh, nice.
And I'm giving this to you as a gift.
You are?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you.
And this is the most fun part about it.
I can't wait to try that.
Oh, there's two fun things actually I brought. One, as I don't know if you can see these candles on camera.
I love them.
So this is a great brand I actually just found out about last week. I went to a conference in San Francisco. I go to cannabis conferences.
Yeah.
Like I used to go to the gift show in New York growing up at the Javits Center, which was like little,
the Jacob Javits?
yes, which was like booths of gifts items.
Yeah.
Now it's cannabis booths. Like there's an event up in Santa Rosa called Hall of Flowers. I should take Bert to the
Hall
next
of
one.
Flowers.
I'm serious. I'm going to take your husband to the next
That's
one.
amazing.
And we'll bring like a camera crew with us.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's booth after booth after booth of just items and products, and it caters to the dispensary owner so they could go and
Okay.
do their buying for it.
Yeah.
But it's a networking event, and the who's who of cannabis is there.
I see.
And then last week I was at an event called New West Summit in San Francisco, where I met this brand. It's called Hoop, and Hoop is actually a teenage brand CBD.
No way.
Which I thought was really
Is
cool.
it HOOP?
Yep. And
Hoop?
the website is hoopbeauty.com.
Hoopbeauty.com.
And they have
okay.
all sorts of products. I have their card here, oils, clay masks, a cream, a serum. But what I brought was their unique candles.
Yeah.
So these are actually candles that have THC and CBD in the formulation. And so what you do is, I don't want to burn myself. I probably will. You put the wax on your skin
Yeah.
and then it turns into a cream and you put it in for like healing and dry skin. So it's
That's amazing.
it's in a
okay.
burn if
well,
you wanna
will
do
I
it.
get THC? I'm scared.
No. It's all topical.
Am I
so you're
gonna-
not
am I gonna-
No.
Am I going to throw up from the
No, it's
candle
not gonna
wax?
burn you, is anything.
Oh no,
Rub
it's
it
not
in.
that hot.
No.
That's really not hot.
And then it's a nice feeling
Oh.
cream.
I like it.
And I'm going to leave these for you as well. So
You
you and
are?
your
You're
husband
so
can have a little fun
sweet.
with the candle wax.
Oh, indeed. I think I can figure out what to do with that. This is great. It's really moisturizing.
Yeah,
It's
isn't
very
that fun?
smooth. Yeah, that's such a great idea.
Like who would have thought to put CBD in a candle and THC?
Yeah.
And it's such a nice formulation, you know? And again, I have nothing to do with these brands. I just thought it'd be like, who would have known? I'm fascinated every day working in cannabis. The business rules are different. The people you meet are different and the products are different. It's like a altered universe I live in. And then I come home and become a mom.
Is that ease?
Oh, we forgot. Yeah. Hold on. Let's see if our delivery's here yet. They're probably. No, he's on the way.
Okay. So far, it's been 13 minutes.
Okay.
That's still pretty good. 13 minutes. I
Yeah.
have to say. It's isn't it great to work in an industry where you're curious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which puts me to the next one. So there's this great company in Venice, California called Foria Wellness.
Spell it.
Foria. And it's supposed to be like a play,
Foria.
Foria
Okay.
Wellness.
Got it.
And I met them through my podcast, High on the Hog, the podcast. And I didn't realize, I thought they were just like the sex lube kind of wellness company.
Uh-huh.
But I learned so much more about their products. I have one product here called Awaken, and then I have some suppositories.
What?
And so at first I was like, ooh, kinky. But then I heard more about it. And basically there's this whole group of women who have painful sex or painful issues with their, privates, and whether it be in the front or the back.
Yeah.
And these are your lifesavers.
Yeah.
They will reduce your pain. They'll apparently all these, I don't know what percentage of women have painful sex, but there's a huge percentage of them. And they need to buy this Foria Awaken product because it will immediately relieve that issue.
Interesting. So what causes the pain? Is it like the pain of dryness?
Whether
or?
they have dryness, endometriosis, weird childbirth.
Endometriosis. Yeah.
Thank God I don't
Okay.
have that problem.
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
actually, I met this fantastic woman who came on the show. Her name is Ashley Manta, and she goes by the Canisexual. And she is a sex coach on how to use products like this to help your sex life and stuff. But she comes from a abusive angle of abuse, and that's where hers comes from.
Got it.
So super knowledgeable and great. Like, I think she's an influencer in the industry.
Awesome.
But she comes with a story, and she's so helpful and creates awareness for all these women who went through a similar situation as
Right.
her, and now can have like sex. And she's crazy about sex apparently because of this.
That's great.
So, and then,
I wonder what it does. Does it lube?
well, I think it alleviates the THC is a pain thing,
Uh-huh.
and the
okay.
CBD is an anti-inflammatory. So
Oh, okay.
it's
Okay. That makes sense.
It's just you're applying it right on
Right.
where it hurts.
That was my 15. I set a 15-minute timer because I'm not smart
and I
enough
want to make
to
sure
do
we
my
don't
stopwatch.
miss the driver. He's like, your weed's gone. No,
Right?
I'm like, wait.
I smoked your weed on the way to giving you your weed. No, they would never do that.
And these are just CBD only, actually. Sorry, the
Oh,
Foria
okay.
stuff. And then the suppositories are supposed to be great for like if you have prostate cancer or like male issues. Just it's putting it directly into that area. I
Right.
met a woman who had cervical cancer who reduced so many of her tumors by literally filling her orifices with THC.
Wow.
She was in Ohio where it was illegal, and she made her own medicine, and she was in her 20s, and she literally just plugged up her holes.
Oh my God.
And her doctor was like, what are you doing? And she's actually coming out with her own brand soon. She's working on it. So
That's amazing story.
they're called vaginal inserts is what she's putting out.
vaginal inserts.
Yeah,
Right.
because she doesn't want to be tampons. There are tampons. There are like, you can get THC tampons.
What?
Yeah.
Why would you put THC?
Because
In a
you,
tampon.
but it's not going to get you high. It's going to alleviate the pain.
I see.
So that's.
Oh, I see. Okay. So
Because
CBD,
it's topical.
But why would you use that instead of CBD to alleviate pain?
Because maybe for you it works. For me,
Oh,
it doesn't.
I see.
So
Okay.
it's.
That makes sense.
A lot of these companies have two branches. They have their CBD version of stuff and their THC version of stuff. And a lot of companies pivoted away from the THC
Mm-hmm.
because of all the regulations and how hard it is to
Oh,
produce a
okay.
regulated product in California.
I see.
Because they do have such strict laws.
Because that's the psychotropic part. Is that the right term?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's probably
But so I'm going to leave you with these.
you
too.
are. Thank you. Bert will probably steal the suppository.
Well, you know what's funny? I when I interviewed them on the show, they brought me the samples, and I was looking for them to come today, and I'm like, honey, you didn't use those suppositories, did you? And he's like, no, I swear I'll get them for you. So-
Let me I'll be right back. I'll just take one out right now, right? Well, these are all awesome. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I didn't know I was getting treats today.
Yeah, and these are for you too, actually.
Thank you. Well, I can't wait to. So there's nothing in those.
Yeah, so a lot of the times with edible products, they'll sample stuff that's non-infused
Got it.
because they want to sell it on a quality product.
Right.
They want like you'd have fresh fruit if you're going to do a fruit covered chocolate. Like,
Right.
A lot of there's this whole movement away from the candy,
Right.
you know, and
Let's-
and plus no one wants candy. It's very kid attractive to kids, and like, we don't want our kids eating it.
No, for sure.
So
For sure. I know someone in our family, I won't say who, but someone in our family is dealing with his anxiety, and it is heavy by eating cookies. And he's eating a shit ton of cookies.
edible cookies
Yeah.
or just cookies?
Edible cookies.
Oh.
Yeah, edible. Yeah, cookies with, and they're
Infused.
kind of high dose. They're like 5 milligram cookies, and he's eating a lot in a day.
Oh.
And I was like, maybe you should figure out a different way to get that milligram, because the cookie still has a calorie.
Right. So that's a good point. We touched on it earlier, the microdosing word. That's a huge buzzword in the industry for people. So like people take antidepressants. A lot of people get off their antidepressants and figure out how to use cannabis instead.
Mm-hmm.
And so you take a pill a day if you're on a medication, right? Or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to take 2 with cannabis. So like say you're taking the mints,
Yeah.
you could take a mint in the morning, a mint at lunch, and a mint at dinner, and figure that that's what keeps you,
Level.
or whatever works. And that's essentially microdosing, because you're evening out the
I
pace
see.
of what you're giving yourself.
Instead of just flooding
Right.
it in at one time.
Right. So you're slow. Like instead of taking like Tylenol in the morning, you might take it twice a day.
Right.
So-
I see what you mean.
So, yeah.
I have to microdose. I was having problems with the pill after my second kid. I started developing like cysts in my breast, and my doctor was like, I'm going to put you on the ring
Oh,
because
yeah.
it microdoses you all day. And then it all stopped.
Oh, wow.
So she was like, you just can't have that influx of hormone.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
one flood when you take that pill was more than my body could do.
Yep.
So I have the same disorder with estrogen, I guess, that
Oh,
I
gosh.
do with THC.
That's interesting. They
Yeah.
actually have patches. I don't know why estrogen made me think of a patch, but you can get like THC patches.
Oh, yeah?
I joke that I have a friend who you'd never see anything but his eyes.
Yeah, because he'd be covered in
He'd be
patches.
covered in the
Oh,
patch.
How funny! How funny. So, what do you think is the future? What does the future look like? Do you think for cannabis?
I think it's going to be so mainstream. I think it's going to be federally legal. I think you're going to buy it like you can liquor in a store.
Right.
Some states, how you have to, like, and where I grew up, we had to actually buy our beer and wine in a state store in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. So it's basically like the dispensary model. I think you're going to see it just becoming more and more mainstream. People are more accepting of it. You're going to see segments on TV. You're going to see cannabis advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see billboards right now.
Mm-hmm. Here where it's legal. I
Yeah.
wonder, to be the naysayer, the negative side of it, is this just a fad?
No, I don't think so at
I
all.
don't think it's just a trend.
No,
just
I think
trendy,
CBD
hot CBD.
might be is a big trend right now.
Yeah.
CBD actually is. I think everyone and their mother has a CBD business right now.
Ah.
You can go to the ice cream store and they'll put a drop of CBD in your ice cream. You can get it added to your coffee. You can get it added to your cocktails. There's big word on the street like whether you should be able to add it to your food or not at restaurants. But like, why not add a $5 upcharge for a drop of CBD?
Totally.
And the question is like, how do you know what you're getting?
Right.
So goes back to the whole story is, everyone has to be on the up and up. You have to have everything clearly labeled. One of the things we didn't mention is when, if you're wondering what CBD to buy, if you can't Google it and find their certificate of analysis,
Mm-hmm.
you should not buy the product.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand this. If I go to a store, mom and pop store, and they have a CBD item, I would take that item and Google that item and see if they have, what was it called again?
Their COA, certificate of analysis, just basically
Certificate
what
of
is in it.
analysis. What is in it? Then I should not buy that product.
Correct.
Okay,
If they
got it.
can't put ingredients of what's in it out there right up front,
Yeah,
not at all.
don't buy
And
it.
the certificate of analysis, to be clear, is by a third party.
Right,
So you're assured that you're getting something that is what it says it is.
right. So what do you think, if anything, would be the downfall of this industry?
The suits who are trying to come in and steamroll all the people who've been farming for generations. That's as someone new to the industry, I find that very interesting. That's what's different is you've got these people who've been farming for generations.
Mm-hmm.
You have people who are in jail for cannabis crimes.
Yeah.
There's actually a wonderful man named Steve DeAngelo who has an organization called the Last Prisoner Project. And everyone should go to his website, lastprisonerproject.org, I believe. And read about it, understand that there's all these prisoners who have minor cannabis crimes that are still sitting in jail. And so he just formed this organization and he's going to be getting everyone out one by one.
I think that's amazing.
Which is really cool. I actually met him. His nickname, he's the guy with the long braids. He's very iconic in the cannabis industry. And he's known as the father of the legal cannabis industry.
Wow.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Very cool. And what a great project. I think that should happen.
Yeah. So I'm actually looking to have him come on the podcast. Those are the kinds of people we interview.
Right.
People who have made a difference, who are making a difference, and who aren't just in it really for the money.
Right. They're in it to change.
Yeah. There are a lot of people trying to come in right now and make that swoop. And I say to people, like, again, the cannabis industry is different because the people who are shysters reveal themselves immediately. It's pretty funny.
Right.
They don't know they do, but it's like written on their forehead because they're the way they act, the way they represent themselves. You can just tell like they're not in it for the genuine, making the world a better place.
Well, I would imagine the regulations and the hoops and the fees and the just cost of doing business is such that you have to be in it for kind of righteous and noble reasons, or start some other business. You know what I mean? Like you start a shoe store.
Right.
There's nothing that you need no hoops to jump through like that to start a shoe store. So if someone just wants to make big money, I would imagine that would not be the best choice, right? To go, I'm going to make a bunch of money by spending a shit ton of money just to get my shit up and running. Seems like that would be hard.
I'm surprised our delivery should be here by now.
I know the ease is we're working on it's like 25 minutes now.
I was like bragging that I could get it in like 8 minutes.
I know.
I guess maybe later in the afternoon.
Maybe.
It's still early here. It is
Well, it's
morning in Los Angeles.
It's under half hour.
I know.
That's pretty great.
Oh, yeah. We don't. We're spoiled in our 30-minute deliveries of pizzas. I get it.
That and even Instacart takes 2 hours.
Yes.
So this is fine.
Yeah.
So
No,
far.
this is a huge convenience. I'm not complaining.
Totally.
I'm just.
Why would one urgently need marijuana? Why would one need it urgently?
You're going to a party and you're leaving in 20 minutes.
Okay, that's a good one.
You're out and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to get through the rest of my day? No.
Oh, that guy's coming in for a meeting. CBD. No.
Right?
I just wonder why. That's a great one. We're all going to go out. Let's grab some for our night out.
Yeah.
So how does driving under the influence work with THC? How does that work?
It's exactly like driving under the alcohol influence.
So if you eat your mint, are you considered under the influence?
You're impaired, absolutely.
Okay. So then if you went out and drank your mint, you would Uber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't be driving around. I've heard they're working on like technology to see if they can test if you're driving under the influence of cannabis. I don't know how accurate it is, but like so this conference I was just at, there's all these technologies coming out.
Right.
Because there's funny people who don't want to actually be in cannabis and like working with the actual plant. So what they say to be funny is, I don't touch the flower. So like you could work in packaging, but you work in cannabis packaging. So you work around it, but not, and some people are funny about it just because the illegalness of it still, because I don't know, they just want to be on the up and up. But I find that some people are like, oh, we don't touch the flower.
We're cannabis adjacent.
Yes. We always say just snob adjacent and cannabis adjacent.
Just snob adjacent. We have a great little community here.
Yep.
We're super
And
lucky.
I always joke, it's very 420 friendly over here.
Yes, it is.
We're fortunate because I was worried like moving into this business and everything, like what would the parents think?
Yeah, totally.
But I think we're in a unique area where everyone's cool about it. I mean, I've always come around where I find everyone really does partake in it in some way or another, whether it's their husband or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they're just okay with it and it doesn't work for them. But it used to be a secret. Now everyone's out in the open about it,
Totally. Yeah. It is definitely shifted for sure. Even hanging out at a party and some parents partaking is a different thing now than it was even 5 years ago. Or at least I find, because, and not that we say to the kids, hey, your mom's smoking pot. We don't do that. But it's not in a closet, hidden secret. It's like on the patio and we're eating an edible and that's over and nobody.
And I think if you do that with kids, you don't make it, if you're not making it a thing, it's not a thing.
Right. You're right. If you're not making it a thing, it's not a thing. Same with drinking. I mean, there's nothing wrong with drinking alcohol. Of course, just like any other drug. You shouldn't drink it to excess, and you shouldn't be reckless with your behavior when you do. So it's the same exact thing applies to THC. You shouldn't be reckless with your behavior. You shouldn't drive under the influence. You should try not to make bad choices.
Exactly.
And use it responsibly. It's the same thing for alcohol.
I'm looking at what else I wanted to talk about. I brought a little note card.
Oh, good for you. See, I don't ever prepare because I feel like I'm
was like,
super.
I'm not
so
usually
curious.
the guest. So.
You're not right, right? So, how long? Pull your mic forward. No, make yourself comfortable, and then make the mic. So, how many episodes do you have of High on the Hog?
So we started in January, and today we're up to 45 episodes.
Nice.
I'm actually launching. So this was a great episode I'm launching today. Is your show live?
No.
Okay, I don't think so. Paul Rosen, the CEO and founder of Pantry, was on my show last week, and he is, I think, I'll tout him as probably one of the most successful businessmen in cannabis right now.
Awesome.
He comes from Canada. PharmaCann was his company there. He's so smart, so knowledgeable, a great speaker. And I'll tout this. He let me embrace my cannabis enthusiast title. I used to be kind of closeted about like that I like to smoke pot. And then I met him probably a few months ago now, and he just is open about it when he speaks. He's like, I'm a cannabis enthusiast. And I was like, well, if Paul can say it, so can I.
Right.
But Paul's obviously a much bigger person in the industry than me. But yeah, I there's no shame,
No.
And if
So-
someone's not going to send their kid to my house or like me because of it, I could care less.
Well, that's the truth, isn't it? Because hiding a part of who you are does nobody any good.
Yeah.
It does because you're always found out.
Right.
No matter what the hiding. I'm super Christian.
Right.
Well, somebody's going to find out at some
Yes.
point. So you may as
Yes.
well just be who you are, let your freak flag fly, and then let the other person make a decision based on that works for them. And I don't ever take any offense if anybody says, no, not that anybody ever has, I guess. So I guess I can't really say that from experience, but I would imagine if someone said, your husband's growing pot in your backyard, I want to send my kids over, then I would think, well, then you're crazy. Is your kid going to run in my backyard and start chewing on the pot plant? What the
Right.
hell? It's not going to, I don't even know what to do with these damn pot plants.
Have you ever had anyone ask you, do you keep guns in your house? As like a play date kind of thing when the kids
no
were-
one has.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
yeah.
that's a converse. Like, those are new things. Like, do you ask those questions? Hello, Leanne, do you smoke marijuana or have guns?
Yeah, right? Which do you then say, which do you prefer? I have?
right.
Because I have both.
Right. The
So what
guns
would you
protect
like?
my marijuana.
Right. Exactly. The guns are also in a safe that is fingerprint locked.
Right.
So no one can get them except for me or Bert.
Right,
So
right.
I don't know how I could make a gun any safer.
But you
than
know what
a
I mean? Like, those
fingerprint
are
lock.
things in parenthood
Yeah,
nowadays
totally.
that are just around,
Yes.
and relevant questions.
But what's
that-
interesting to me is the question about safety from the other parent, or is it about their moral, ethical compass, where they go, I don't want my kid to hang out with someone who has a gun.
Right.
Whether or not the gun is safe, I don't want my kid to know you because you own a gun. Same with marijuana.
Right.
Same with, I guess the same in the past would be about your ethnic or religious background. I wonder if that happens sometimes for people. Oh, they're growing marijuana in their garage. Loose morals. Not going over there. You know what I mean?
think when my parents were younger in that generation, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think nowadays no one cares.
I don't know the gun thing. I think they do.
Yeah, the gun, I'm thinking more in cannabis.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I know, like if you heard so-and-so's parents were hippies and smoked pot,
Yeah,
and
right,
then,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
But now it's like, whatever, as long
Yeah,
people
with
know
pot, for
me,
sure.
they know, they've been to my house is a pretty open house anyway, because my husband sells barbecue on the weekends out of it. And
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
not going to have like cannabis sitting everywhere. My kids have never seen it, as I
Right.
said. So, it's all about like what kind of parent you are.
Well,
And it makes
maybe
me-
that's why the barbecue's so good.
Right. Carnivore kingdom. That's funny. But I forget what I was just going to say.
Well, so back to your podcast.
Yeah.
High on the Hog. What is your website?
Oh, it's High on the Hog, the podcast. We were pretty clever in creating the podcast. You can follow us on Instagram. And our angle is we only get experts to talk.
Right.
So I marry topics with experts. We did sex and CBD.
Right.
We've done, I've had the COO of Papa and Barkley. My friend Ophelia Chong has come on the show. She actually is so brilliant. She owns a company called Stockpot Images. So
Mhm.
if you were going to advertise and needed to like license a photograph,
Mhm.
like you'd go to Getty.
Yeah.
If it's cannabis, you go to her.
Interesting. Stock pot.
Stockpot Images, which is
Got
like,
it.
and she has any strain you want photographed, any back, like just really
Amazing.
how smart. She
Yeah,
and
really
this is like
smart.
not a new business. She's had it for a while.
That's amazing.
So there's all these people who've had businesses who are now able to
be up and up about
operate,
it. Yeah.
be open, be
Yeah.
even more successful because now like there's brands that can advertise.
Right.
You know, all these celebrities are getting into it. Chelsea Handler, Melissa Etheridge, Mike Tyson has a ranch. Jim Belushi.
Nice.
Um,
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, all these people are into it. Melissa Etheridge's ranch is up in Santa Cruz. She is the first license up there. So it's interesting just being on the inside, hearing these things. I try and go to all sorts of events around town. There are amazing events around town. And in LA, they're fun party-like, but
Yeah.
they're very sophisticated.
Yeah.
In San Francisco, I find the events are much more business tech.
Interesting.
And I just realized that because I just been going to a bunch lately, and I think it's funny just analyzing them and seeing who's going to what and what you get out of them.
Totally. So,
This was great. I met this woman at the last conference. Her name is the Canna Mommy, and she educates women on cannabis and being a mom and being pregnant. And she actually is fantastic. And so the power outages in San Francisco last week, her daughter didn't go to school. So she arrived at the event. I had known her from social media and we met in person, and I saw she needed a little help setting up her booth. So I was like, why don't I take your daughter? Her daughter, Winter Avery, was the hit of this show. She walked over to every booth. She's like a little girl who should be on Ellen with a microphone. I'm actually pitching her something because she's like, hi, what's your business? And she's just adorable and so well-spoken. And
How old was she?
10.
Oh my God.
And she was supporting her mom so well. And like they're farmers from Northern California, like generations. And she's, you know, just super nice, genuine, authentic people. And I love the little girl and how sweet she was. And I think she was the hit of the summit last week because everyone seeing a little girl walking around made it normal to them.
Right.
And that's what everyone is trying to do in this industry, normalize it.
Right.
And I think like she was really the hit of the show because everyone by the end knew. They're like, you're the lady with the kid. I'm like, no, I'm not her mother. I was like, let's be clear. And I'm not judging. I just wanted her mom to get the credit.
Yeah,
I was
totally.
like, I'm just another mom helping another mom out. Which
Right,
is
right.
what we need to do.
Totally.
So I thought that was really cool.
So what is your favorite episode of your podcast that you've recorded so far?
My favorite episode, definitely the Canna-sexual.
Okay.
Ashley Manta, she's local to LA. I highly recommend anyone reach out to her directly or listen to her. Most influencers in today just promote themselves, but she actually has a cause and where she came from.
Right.
An abusive situation. And so I thought that was just fantastic. And she's using her voice to help people, to truly help people.
To heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her bad experience.
And the best part is she shows up with a vagina puppet on her hand.
Shut up.
Yes.
What does a vagina puppet look like? A vagina?
Yeah, she had someone hand make it. It's amazing. I'll show you a picture.
But what did she use it for? Just to say, and here's where
Yes,
oh, that's
yes.
amazing.
Yes, it's all
I want to see the vagina puppet.
I'm finding it.
I think all women should maybe have a vagina puppet, and you could say, hey, honey, let me show you something. Ready? When you do this, the vagina puppet goes, don't do that so hard. It hurts.
And if we can post the picture.
Oh my God, it's a vagina puppet. That's crazy. Okay, I'm going to show it right here.
Yeah. Ashley Manta, the Canna-sexual.
So cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm not on the mic. What an amazing human being.
Yeah, I met her through an event, and what I've been really fortunate with the podcast is I get great guests. That's the easiest part. I just call people and they respond. And the hard part is coming up with new categories. Like, what else do I want? Like, I just sit there and I'll brainstorm.
Right.
We met this woman who has a kosher CBD company. So
No way.
Yeah, it's called Mitzvah.
That's amazing.
So we were like, what's the opposite of mitzvah? My husband's like, I don't know. Is there a Christian cannabis? Well, yeah, there is. And he's coming on the show.
Shut up. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's really fun finding these people.
Yeah.
And they'll come on the show. I'm dying to get all the celebrities I named. I would love for any of them to come on.
Totally.
But yeah,
Who are you dying to get?
Melissa Etheridge, please come on my show.
That'd be awesome. Well, let me ask you this. I have two questions come to mind. One is, have you done one about fitness and cannabis?
No, but it's coming up.
Okay, good.
Yep.
The other one is, because we are culturally different, all of us are different. I wonder how we're white women. I wonder how this cannabis is affecting other cultures, like the Black community. How this legalization of cannabis is affecting them.
So there's a huge, what they call social equity movement. So like I mentioned, there's all these people in jail. I'm making sure our ease delivery isn't here yet. All these people are in jail. And so they don't want to have every store being owned by a white person.
No, yes,
they are
exactly.
creating licenses. I don't know much about the program, but there's social equity programs in every city and market and state.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to keep an equal distribution amongst people as it should.
Right.
So I saw this great speaker, Virgil was his name. He owns a store in Compton, and he was part of the social equity program in California. I think he was even an ex-prisoner.
Wow.
So who's come out on the other side now and has a successful business.
Right. That's great.
On the front market. And so, it's a big challenge. Just women in the industry.
Right.
I go to meetings. They're all men.
I'm sure.
And so I find I have a great unique angle because I can come to you want to take me to a meeting. You don't feel like there are people you don't want to take to meetings in cannabis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like who? Like what?
I don't know. I've just been in meetings where they're like, it's very obvious who they'll take to a meeting. Like there's just certain people you don't want to sit in a meeting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Just because they're loud, they don't know how to like sit in a corporate meeting.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay. Something that looks like it may be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And then it's just interesting. There's just so much. I forget what we were just talking about. Sorry. I went on.
I was asking about how
Fix
other
that on the
cultures
editing.
besides our like
Oh, so the women.
suburban,
we're
we're suburban white women, and we see cannabis in our neighborhood, but just a few blocks north of here, the demographic is entirely different.
Yes, yes.
So how is that neighborhood processing this movement? Is my question. Is how is deeper into North Hollywood processing this? How is some of the other
perfect timing.
Yeah, no. Hey, babe.
Podcasting?
We
Yes.
are. This is Joanna. Joanna Burt.
How are ya?
I know
Good
you've
to
seen
see you.
each other around.
Yeah. I brought you all sorts of goodies today. I'm so glad.
Tell me what you got.
All right. Well, I'll start.
I'm sober right now.
It's okay. Some are non-infused. I'll start with just some these are edibles that are healthier than normal. Like they're not candy.
Oh yeah.
It's a company called Pantry where they have like a chef create all the recipes, and it's like the Godiva of chocolates,
Fuck
but
yeah.
with cannabis
God, I
infusion.
wanna
These are
eat.
actually non-infused, just for fun.
Here's a suppository.
Yes, I think you'll like the suppositories.
Fuck
Bert.
yes.
Yes,
I
Those
told
those
you he'd want the
I know.
suppository.
My husband gave them up. No, I'm kidding. I was looking for them. I'm like, honey, you didn't take those suppositories. I want to bring them over to the podcast today. But yeah, they're actually great for like men's health, like prostate stuff. And
Oh really?
but it's all internal, or like you're not going to get high from it because it's on your skin and you're not like smoking it.
Yeah.
This is some Euphoria Awaken sex oil.
So funny. Hey, pass me one of those. There's a vape pen in there that someone gave me that is a not to cross brands.
Doesn't
but
matter.
It's let me see one.
I don't work for
sensual.
any of these brands. These are just
These are just stuff you have. So
Yeah.
so you're running a dispensary?
Does
No,
she
I have
know-
a podcast also, a cannabis education podcast.
Okay. Oh my God.
I record
It's
around.
called High on the Hog, the podcast.
I love it.
It's
I love
awesome,
it.
right?
What
and
did you?
my partner is my dad's friend, my parents' friend from growing up in the Bronx, Merrill Schindler. He used to be a radio host and a food critic and edit Zagat. And so we do a weekly podcast talking to experts in the industry.
Can I tell you the greatest brand integration I've seen?
Yeah.
In marijuana in my 30 years of using marijuana.
By the way, we ordered marijuana that's being delivered right now too.
For real?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. I'm so excited.
But
those
she
mints,
says I may
those-
have something. What's it called? The thing where I throw up?
Oh, she might have some weird cannabis hyperemesis syndrome. There's an actual medical issue where people who ingest marijuana vomit from it.
Really?
Yeah.
The THC part.
The
She might have
Petra Mints were in Men's Health in regards to flying.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, make your flight a smooth flight, whatever it was. And I thought for the first time, marijuana is here to stay for the rest of our lives. Like, and I've always thought that. I've always thought, and I obviously know where the trend is going with marijuana. But for the very first time, I saw them brand themselves in a way that made sense for absolute everyone. It's a 2.5 milligram, which is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the threshold milligram.
Yep, that's where you should start.
And I thought, what a great way to say, hey, we understand we all want a cocktail when we want to get on the plane. We all want to fall asleep when we get on the plane. Let's be a little more healthy about it so you can work tomorrow. And for the next 4 hours, zap out, take a nap, take a 2.5, which is just going to be like taking almost like a fucking half a Xanax. You're not going to really feel it, but you'll feel it enough that it affects your body. It was one of the best advertisements I've ever seen in marijuana.
Was it an advertisement or was it like a write-up?
No, it was an advertisement in Men's Health. And I thought Petra fucking just hit a home run. And I've been aware of the mints forever. We always got the 10 milligram ones, which I got to be honest with you, eating marijuana has always scared me.
Yes.
And because I can definitely control my intake with one hitters, with vapes, I have my favorite way to what is it? I'm trying to think of the right terminology. My favorite. No. My favorite.
Enjoy?
No, hold on. My favorite delivery. It's the same way they talk about tobacco. My favorite delivery mechanism is the vaporizers.
Oh yeah.
I have the PAX vapor. I have 2 of them.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I have one on the bus I keep packed, and then I have one
and
at home.
You use like flour and you crush.
I use flour. I grind it up, and I'm a big fan of finding a flower that I love, like Blue Dream, and then sticking with it. For a long time, it was Jack Herrera. Then it was Phyllis Diller. Then it was
that's funny.
Girl Scout cookies, and now Blue Dream. One night I took a hit of Blue Dream, and I just felt relaxed.
So what's a challenge for me is like once I find a strain I like, the consistency of it, because you might not be able to find it again, or it's sold out.
Blue Haze is what now with their, I guess Blue Dream all sold out. And now they have Blue Haze, and they're like, it's similar. They're like, you might like birthday cake.
So that's like an industry challenge, is having a consistent supply chain. So a lot of these companies are what they're calling vertically integrated, where you own everything from the farm up until like maybe, hopefully you can even open a store. So like as long as you can own the whole supply chain.
Right.
But it's really difficult. Like all of a sudden you find a flower you like and then it's never there again.
Yeah. I remember.
Bummer.
But it is fun. It is fun. Like if you're going to get back to the days of when you would buy marijuana illegally, it is fun for word on the street to get out, and they're like, yo, they've got Phyllis Diller over at whatchamacallit, you got to go get some before and then you go in and they're like, we've already put it in the back. It's just for our high-end customers.
Oh
How did we even buy marijuana when we didn't have cell phones? Like we had landlines and we'd leave messages for people. Is that what we did? Or like
I didn't buy it. So
or a pager.
Call our
and
buddy
call
Steven
you
and you go, hey man, I need to see a man about a horse. Can you call me back? And that was our code.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to buy a dog. Like anything.
We called ours bagels.
Need bagels?
We need
But
bagels.
my guy was named Ozone.
Our guy was a guy named Steven who was in my fraternity, and he got caught. He got caught and he went to jail.
Oh,
went
man.
to federal prison for like 3 years.
Wow.
Back when you could like
When this was a
and
real
he was
big
engaged, and they ended up staying together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really great guy.
Well, that's really great of his girl, because I mean, clearly she
I think
knew
they're
he
divorced
was.
now.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Okay, our deliveries here, they're on. They're stuck by the one-way sign. Go down the street. I got to get you
Halston's
money though.
Jumping on this. Watch this. Ready?
I need to go
I
down.
guarantee,
He'll-
I guarantee Halston's like, so Leanne, if you're not gonna eat these, I definitely will take them off your hands.
I know,
'cause-"
right?
Yeah.
So
I told her to
can't
go
pay-
down the street anyway.
So you can't
Hold on, let me
pay
get
by
my
credit
bag.
card. Hold on. You can't pay by credit card. You have to pay back. No, I'll buy it. I don't even know what you bought. So
dying to
with
see what
with
you
this
bought.
ease, you can't like pay for it in advance. You have to pay in cash, right?
You know what? It's changing. So
You're in fantastic shape.
I know, right?
Thank you.
Her
Have you
arms
always?
are awesome.
Is that just genetics?
Genetics?
Fuck. Are you Greek?
No, Jewish. My
Uh-oh.
dad has the same arms, and I have, as Russian ladies will hate me, I have the Russian sturdy legs. My
Yeah.
grandmother had the same like thick legs as I do. But I was a
You
gymnast
don't
as a
have thick
kid.
legs.
I looked like horrible after I had kids. As my dad told me, you're not going to have a 70-pound baby. And finally I got thin again and my arms came back. So
That's awesome. I'm trying to lose weight. That's why I've been stuck on with. We do this thing Sober October every year where we don't drink or do drugs for the month of October, and we do physical activities. And I've really enjoyed the sobriety a lot. I've enjoyed not boozing and not being hungover and getting into spin class and not being afraid of having a stroke or not being afraid that I'd throw up or shit. Like just like it's been really fun waking up and going, yeah. I absolutely love Xanax. I mean, I really wish that was like a healthy drug. I know it's not. It turns your brain into mush, and I avoid it because of that. I want edibles to find a way into my life. I really genuinely want edibles to find a way into my life so that I can. For me, it's tapping out at the end of the day. It's at 5 o'clock going. This
is it. So this is a new brand that just came into the California market called Pantry. I have
it?
nothing to do with the brand except for loving the idea behind it.
Keto Bites.
So they're Keto Bites. It's for the conscious consumer who cares about
3 milligrams THC.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to come back here. She's not comfortable doing that.
Okay. So do you want to pause for a second? Do I have to give her my ID?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Huh?
Perfect.
Talk about progress.
Thanks, Halston.
But so what's interesting about the delivery
hold on one
is,
second.
sorry.
When did women ever deliver marijuana that you've known of in your, like, especially in New York? In New York, back in the day when you'd buy marijuana, you could call a number and they'd come over to your house with a backpack. They'd be in little square cubes and you'd get whatever you wanted. And it was always a dude. Never was. That's progress, ladies.
Mine was always an African-American guy in a really nice Mercedes. And he pulled up to my building in New York and he'd come up.
The guy we bought Coke from was always 4 Puerto Ricans in like an El Camino.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
or an what's the month?
The Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo.
In a Monte Carlo.
Uh-huh.
And I'd always make Tony get in there with him because he spoke Spanish. And then Tony, we'd call him. His name was Billy. We go, hey, dude, we're gonna call Billy, and he would pull up, and everyone. It was all of our friends were all white except for Tony. We'd be like, Tony, you know you're gonna, and he'd be like, oye, ¿cómo está usted? Bien, oye, tú, ven acá, por favor. So,
Are you from here?
I'm from Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
He lived in New York, though, obviously.
Yeah.
can I open these?
Yeah, those are for you.
I want Sober October to be over right now. I'd eat one right now.
But I don't think there's anything in those.
No,
right?
those are
What's the matter?
infused.
She needs you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
We'll hold.
Hold on.
No. We'll keep recording. We'll talk. Pour some wax.
Oh yeah, this is a THC infused wax and that you use just for moisturize. It doesn't make you high.
Yeah.
But
So is this going to change your view on marijuana?
I didn't have a bad view of marijuana.
You've been such a naysayer, Lee.
I have
You're
not.
almost like a narc.
I have not been a narc. I didn't have a bad view of marijuana. I had no
Talk into the mic, please, when you talk to me.
I had no view of marijuana because every time I had it, I would throw up.
Would you try?
So if someone said to you, you don't
Did you ever
understand.
eat those gummies we got you?
Yes, and you know what happened?
What?
Every time I closed my eyes, I saw starbursts on the inside of my eyelids. I didn't sleep all night.
Oh, because it was THC.
Yeah.
You were high.
I felt fine. My body, everything felt fine. But when I closed my eyes, I could see starbursts, and I was like,
that's
I
real.
couldn't
You were high.
go, but I couldn't stop looking at the starburst, so I couldn't go to sleep. And it's supposed to make you fucking sleep. So I was like, well, this is bullshit. I'm not eating this again.
This
It kept
might
me up all
been
night.
The
But what
most
she said,
adorable thing I've ever heard in my
what
entire life.
she
Hold on one
told
second.
me that
No,
it's the
stop
wrong
it.
strand for me.
Stop it. Your guest is not here. Right now, it's our podcast. My wife, Leanne Kreischer, has never fucked around with drugs ever in her
No.
entire life.
Just booze.
So to hear her by herself eat an edible, lay in bed and see starbursts all night makes me giggle so fucking hard.
I hated it. It was
All
not
right,
fun.
This is Ease.
There it is. Ease made it. Yay. It
Now,
was
was she attractive, Halston?
it was 40 minutes.
But there was a small delay because of the wrong way sign on, or the, you know how your street
Yeah,
has
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
down
I'm gonna
at
go
the end.
bust her.
So I would say it was about 30 something minutes.
Hey.
But still, that's not bad to
Federal
bad.
agent, get on the ground.
get a cannabis.
Were you delivering marijuana
Delivery.
to a podcast? On the ground, bitch.
So it comes in this bag.
Good luck getting it open.
Yeah, it comes in a child-resistant bag.
You gotta like,
read
these child-resistant bags are so bad, I just knife them open.
slide. Yeah, that's what I do too. You slide. But it's now going to make me do it on.
You gotta like pull one down, one up or some shit.
Yeah, I got to read it.
Fucking
so slide to
exhausting.
notch, press down tab.
Is there a knife back there?
There we go.
Oh, there you go. Ha ha.
So I actually got some Trees by Game flower.
Let me see. By the way, this is really. You see a knife back there? What am I? The Ghost Christmas Past?
So it's interesting. One's packaged. They're the same brand, but
Same
they're
brand.
packaged differently.
So-
Wow, look at it.
So, oh wow, oh nice. I like this. Oh, I love the packaging. So what you don't know about marijuana, Leanne, is up until recently, laws have changed now where the producers of the marijuana, the harvesters, now have to put it in their own sealable, like FDA regulated.
Right.
It used to come in like a trash can,
Yeah.
and then they would separate, and you'd buy it, and then they'd put it in their own. Are you looking for a knife? I doubt that so highly, Halston. And so.
What do you mean? Or you think maybe you used a knife and didn't put it back? That would be
doesn't sound
so
like me
crazy.
at all. So now they
exactly
come
what
like this. So
happened.
now it's totally different. Like
Look how beautiful.
look
it
how
is.
beautiful this is.
Yeah.
Well, all of it, even this, like this looks like an Apple box.
I love that.
An iPhone, you know,
It's beautiful.
That's what people like. My mom calls me from Pennsylvania. She's like, I just went to the medical store there, and you're not gonna believe the packaging it comes in. I'm like, yeah, we have it in California. It comes in like a real box with like fancy, like stuff you'd want to keep and reuse.
I'm
you
looking.
know?
I'm helping Halton look for it.
Yeah, I was gonna smell it. There's no better smell than marijuana.
So this is I actually. Know the guy who put this out. This is good.
So this is Rascal OG.
But you know, like the game, the rapper.
Yeah.
This is his brand.
This is his brand.
Yeah.
So this one smells good. Trees. Okay. This is Jackhammer. This is my jam right
so
here.
Trees by Game, and yeah, he handpicks the weed.
Oh my God, Halston.
I like
nice.
mine really strong, so that's why I got it.
Yeah.
Smell this. That's beautiful. This
Yeah.
Jackhammer smells awesome. Now, Jack Herrera is where the name Jack comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack Herrera is the guy that kind of discovered marijuana, or
He's one. I don't know. He discovered
These-
enough that he has a strain. Someone offered me his son to come on our podcast.
yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
I'll bring him. We'll come.
I'll come on that podcast and get high as fuck with Jack Herrera's son.
That's so funny, right?
Oh my God.
So what's funny is when people come on our show, we don't like people ask, can we smoke? And we'll always say yes. We were originally in a studio on Melrose, and now we actually just moved it to my house around the corner. And I don't care if people smoke,
Yeah.
but no one's actually done it. They make the biggest deal about like what's in their pocket, like taking it all out, putting
Yeah.
it all on the table, and then like
Then they don't smoke?
they don't even smoke it. And we
Oh.
laugh so hard afterwards.
That's not
But
what
you know
happens on
what's
this
funny? That
podcast.
means that you're probably doing a really good podcast, and they don't. They're
Yeah,
not
they don't need-
bored,
I think,
or
I
they
think
don't
can I
drop
see the
out.
pantry edibles?
Hmm?
I think what the testament is
Eat one of these right now.
I
These don't
can't-
have-
I'm
this has
sober.
nothing in it, though. These are
I'm sure I'd get busted for
No,
breaking
no.
the rules somehow.
These are non-infused 100%.
That's just candy. Oh,
Yeah,
by the way,
it's-
I'm also on a diet.
But these fit perfectly, so don't worry. You want to try the keto bite?
Oh, these are, and
Here.
it's dark chocolate.
Here, try the keto bite in here, and this is.
Oh no, I'm actually fasting until noon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
So
is,
these are 3 milligrams?
in
These
Boy,
are-
you're
30
high
minutes.
maintenance.
These are-
I know you're telling me.
And he's wearing a shirt. I'm a little disappointed.
These are
He
going
is
to
at
be
home.
quite enjoyable.
Those are?
Yeah, this is the perfect amount of marijuana,
Oh yeah.
in my opinion.
But does that have marijuana in it?
Yes,
Yeah,
this
it does. Oh, that
This
one does.
does.
The square box does. The
The
Rectangles
rectangles
The
don't.
trees-
but like, wouldn't you want someone to show up to your holiday party with this instead of a bottle of wine?
100%.
Yeah.
It would be the only problem is, and that's why I like that it's dark chocolate. Is not a lot of kids are into dark chocolate, or at least put nuts in it, so a lot of kids are afraid of them.
Well, it's in a child-resistant container, so the kids couldn't get into it, even if you left it on the counter.
And I think marijuana is good for kids. Just kidding. I think
It could
nobody-
be in certain
There are
circumstances.
kids we were talking about who have like autism, who
Yeah.
have to use that kind of stuff, or like
They're on
cancer
psychotropic
even.
drugs anyway,
Right.
but they're just chemical.
Now,
So-
how do you feel about Colorado legalizing mushrooms?
I'm fascinated. I have a friend here who's growing mushrooms in her garage right now.
Oh, is it a friend that we could all hang out with?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind microdosing some mushrooms on an afternoon.
Yeah. She's a super cool lady. You'll like her.
Really?
Done.
Does she have a cow? How's she growing mushrooms?
Someone gave them to her, and then she's growing them. She does plants too. She's cool.
I have plants.
Yeah, I saw them on the
Yeah,
way.
they're not looking so hot.
It's okay.
They're flowering right now. But I should have flowered them like. a
But
month
mushrooms
ago.
are the next biggest thing. I'm telling you.
Mushrooms are going to change everyone's
mind is
perspective.
blown.
think so?
100%. I'll tell you why. Microdosing mushrooms, meaning taking just the threshold amount. And that's why and I'm not to sound like a big pussy, but I think anyone listening to this podcast knows me that I am a pussy when it comes to drugs. that's why 3 milligrams of marijuana, 2.5 milligrams of marijuana is the perfect amount, because the threshold means at which point you start feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And so apparently microdosing LSD and mushrooms, I wouldn't fuck around with LSD. I just don't like LSD. But microdosing mushrooms, you get it's supposedly it's just as good as taking Zoloft. It gives you, and I don't know, you've never taken mushrooms, but man, mushrooms, there's like a joy and a happiness.
I've never
that
done
you
any
see.
drugs. I've only drank
So
alcohol.
they're actually doing research at Johns Hopkins University back east in DC, and I got a friend into the study because they want into the panel of tests, and they live in Philadelphia. So the problem was they have to like go back and forth, which isn't that far. But they were concerned if they got the placebo, they'd be really pissed.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? They wanted to be part of the study, but if they didn't get the actual drug, because they really needed it, and it was like a desperate kind of plea, like nothing else works.
Depression really is a fucked up.
But I think mushrooms are going to be a huge revolution with depression and anxiety, that our kids are going to be like, mushrooms were illegal. The friend who had the mushrooms, she had like a little container of them with like dust in it. I was like, I want to just like dust it on my friend's tongue, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I will be eating mushrooms when we go see Jimmy Buffett in Colorado.
You will?
Not a lot. Just like one cap, where it just makes everything a little bit brighter, a little bit sunnier, and then hopefully they'll fade away before nighttime, where I don't see the shadow people and they're talking to me about.
It's so funny. I never had any interest in that. I like life as it is. I don't need anything like that to enhance my experience, as far as I know. I think the experience is amazing as it is. I don't want to see starbursts on my eyelids while I'm trying to fall
I don't want to
asleep.
see starbursts on my eyelids while I try to sleep either, but I wouldn't mind
But
seeing.
that would be my fear.
But it's better than demons.
Yeah.
Well,
starbursts
see, I
are
don't want to
pretty nice.
take the chance of going, well, I'll have a mushroom and I hope I don't see the shadow man. I
No.
Do you
'cause then
vomit when you eat
No,
mushrooms?
no.
See, that they make me vomit. See, I wonder if I have
Ah.
like, but I thought everyone barfed when they ate them.
No.
Don't look at me. I've never.
I've
I mean,
eaten
I
them-
haven't done them.
I've only
in-
eaten them probably the last time I ate them. I did not have a great trip because I was a parent, and it was when we were doing Jameson, and I realized that I wasn't in control of my brain, and I wasn't in control of my thoughts, and for the first time I thought, what if I don't ever get control of this again, and I have 2 little girls that depend on me to make a living, and it fucked me up. And God bless. Will you bleep out his name? He's like, buddy, it's just a fucking drug. It's just a drug, and it goes away. And I can promise you that we've
And it
all
did.
done this a bunch. Were you stuck like that? And I said no. And he goes, we're gonna go to a piano bar and we're gonna sing Billy Joel until the sun comes
Oh, I
up,
love
and
that.
you're gonna be the happiest you've ever been. And he was like, we're gonna just keep drinking, have a blast. You're gonna pass out. You're gonna wake up. You're gonna be normal. We're gonna have lunch tomorrow. What do you want to go get lunch? And it's just like little things like that. It's like I got slipped Molly recently, and one of my buddies, Joey Diaz, came over in the midst of me being slipped Molly, and I was having panic attacks, same way I was then. Joey just it's so funny, but it's like street mentality, street psychoanalysis, street psychiatry can really get you through moments with drugs where he said, dog, if you were gonna have a stroke, you would have already had it by now. You're gonna be fine. And then I was like, yeah. And then other people were like, Joey doesn't fucking know that. But that mentality calms you down.
Right.
The most fucked up on drugs I've ever been in my life ever is marijuana.
Really?
The most fucked up I've ever been is marijuana. I
It
mean,
must have been laced. No.
no. I mean, I
What
don't
was
think
the
so. I was
experience
just
like?
young. I was just young,
Okay.
and when we just smoked an aggressive amount, and I had a panic attack, like a full blown panic attack, and I couldn't.
So
write
let me
the-
get this straight. Every drug you've described so far has caused a panic attack, and why do you keep doing them?
It's funny you say that. Every time I've had a panic attack doing drugs, I've always said, "Why do I do this?"
Yeah,
And
because
then
you
you-
just did. You said
I
it
don't
with
know.
the Molly. Well, obviously there's other reasons because that was not voluntary.
Yeah,
And then the mushroom long time ago, and then marijuana when you were
not
younger.
every time on mushrooms. Just that one time when I was an adult. Every other time I had a blast. I had a real
Okay.
like a legit blast. Tubing down the Ishnatuckney. I was at a friend's house one time at a night party. We all ate mushrooms, and I realized that the tree in front of their house was a woman, and
Well, it's a good thing to realize.
and I was like, and,
I
and
hope
she
you
was
didn't touch her.
no, I didn't.
Just the branches. Just the branches.
Yeah, but it was
They're
like
like, why is Bert humping the tree?
Right.
that was a really fun night. And then a couple times at like a Widespread Panic concerts,
I took mushrooms. The last time I did them was at Burning Man, and it was way too much visual stimulation for me.
Oh, I bet.
Like the lights, and we ended up at a gay campground, which I didn't realize was like a huge disco with all men
I think
dancing.
they call that the Boy Scouts. Keep going.
it was a great party, but like it was the first thing we rolled up to on our bikes, and I was just vomiting behind the speaker at the time.
Oh, God.
And they were like, "Let's go," and I was like, "Where are we?" And I was just like, "This isn't fun. Like it's too many lights." It was very overstimulating.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes less is more when it comes to drugs.
Right. I'd rather be in like the woods with no responsibilities.
Yeah, and then or yeah. I although I just had heard a really funny story about my friends who went hiking in the woods and took mushrooms, and they're all walking on this big long hike. They're gonna hike in and camp, and they're eating mushrooms at the campsite. And when they get to the campsite, someone starts dragging their food up in the air, and someone's like, "What are you doing that for?" And they're like, "Bears." And someone's like, "There's bears out here," and he's like, "Of course."
Oh God.
And they're like, "Oh, this all of a sudden is no longer fun." And they're like, "What the fuck? What are we doing in bear territory? Let's go back to the cars. Why the fuck I can't sleep?"
Yeah, you really need to have no cares in the world,
Right.
And
No
no
cares.
responsibilities, because like I don't do any of that anymore because
It would be
I'm a mom now.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like forget it.
now. And I'm sure you guys have already talked about this. What's the conversation with your children? Have you talked about this?
Yeah, they know I work in cannabis. They know I have a podcast. They know
My
the
kids-
name of it.
My kids the other day said, Georgia goes, "Hey, Dad, can I go into your sock drawer and get some socks?" And I went, "Yeah, why not?" She goes, "Well, I don't know if you wanted to get the socks or if you want me to go through your sock drawer because that's where all the marijuana is." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll go get you socks."
That's funny.
Because and by the way, I have more marijuana than I use. Mostly because we get it at the comedy club. When we do spots at the store, they usually give you like a grab bag.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And so,
They don't give you like a 2-drink minimum. They're like, "Here, take some to go."
no.
Right.
And so, but I'm really happy with, I'm hoping marijuana becomes a part of my lifestyle in a healthy way
Mhm.
come November 1st. I think that the first thing I may do,
Well, let's chronicle it. We can do it.
yeah, I would like to spend my 47th birthday sober. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I was thinking.
Well, it's only November 3rd. You can't keep sober October for 3 more days.
No. I meant I don't know if I'm going to stay sober on my birthday.
Oh, I
It's
see.
a fucking Saturday night.
Got it. Okay, got it.
And so,
But you'll be on stage, right?
no,
No, you're home for
it's
your
my
birthday.
one weekend off.
No way.
Yeah, unless I'm 205, then I'm going to New York to Madison Square Garden to be announced at UFC weigh-ins. I'm going to go weigh myself now.
Nice.
Um,
Well, I learned a lot today. This was a great podcast.
Yeah, this
I
was so
really
much fun.
enjoyed it. I learned so much.
I love that you had starbursts in your eyes.
I did. I didn't sleep at all that whole night. I was telling him, he asked me about the gummies that I ate to sleep.
Did you panic at all?
I didn't panic. I was really angry because I was like, this was supposed to help me sleep, and I can't stop seeing starbursts in my eyelids.
You might be the only one eating
And I
marijuana
was
that gets
super
angry.
mad. Yeah, well, because the point of it was for me to go to sleep, and it kept me up the whole night. Because every time
Yeah, no,
I close
I get it.
my
When you
eyes,
can't sleep and you're so pissed because you're like, "Oh my God," watching the minutes go by.
it's like when you take NyQuil and you have the reverse effect, it makes you hyper.
Wait, can we
So-
talk about something that needs to be spoken about?
What?
How did your husband become a Raiders fan?
Born and raised in Southern California.
Really? Oh, so fucking LA.
He's OG.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense.
He's a face painter too.
Raiders fans are fucking lunatics. Like and people legit outright hate Raiders fans.
Yeah.
I was in Kansas City and I said something about Mona. I was this joke about the Raiders and they started booing. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh, they hate Raiders fans."
Who's your team?
The Rams.
Rams. I'm a Rams fan because when they came, but I have a deeper connection to them when I'm a Bucks fan, diehard Bucks fan, in that I grew up in Tampa. However, in 1979, I think 1979, 1980, the Bucks played the Rams for the divisional playoff championships. Whoever won went to the Super Bowl. The Rams ended up going and playing the Steelers, I think, and the Steelers won. But in my first grade brain, as I watched the game and I watched the Rams, I thought, how cool would it be to be a Rams fan? And I thought, I really I remember them showing feathered blonde hair and half shirts. And I was like, that life seems like it would be the greatest. Like to live in California and be a Rams fan. Can you imagine that? So when they came out here, all of a sudden, all my childhood fantasies got fulfilled.
Dreams do come true.
I know.
They
And
do indeed.
I was like, season ticket holder. You tell me what I got to do. I'm buying all Rams gear. We went out and bought all Rams gears for the girls. We bought those Rams things, those flags go in the window. And on the drive to the stadium, both the girls rolled their windows down and they flew off. They just took off.
We lost them.
Yeah. So I am a Rams fan,
Okay.
but I have a soft place in my heart for the Bucs. I always support the Bucs.
My husband's my kids are younger. I've got a 10 and a 12-year-old. My 12-year-old's going to the Oakland game in November with a whole bunch of Josh and his friends. They're all taking their kids, like 30 of them.
They're taking their kids.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, and weapons. Those fucking Raiders games can be intense.
Yeah, but he's a Raider. He's a Raider fan, so he's on the
but
right
it's
side of the law.
However, I'm an Eagles fan growing
Oh
up
my
there.
God. Oh my God. Do you don't understand what this means? Your family is arguably in professional football what they call garbage people. The Eagles fans and the Raiders fans are the two worst human beings that exist.
Yeah, that's why I
without a doubt. My
So-
cousin's an Eagles fan, and he brought it up in the green room, and I go, Andrew, don't tell anyone that. Like, Eagles fans threw snowballs and batteries at Santa. Like, they,
the other day, they weren't even playing the Cowboys, and the game was over, and you hear them being interviewed in the background, and they just start screaming, "Dallas sucks!" And
my God.
they hate them so bad. It was
Eagles fans in Chicago O'Hare on Sunday take over. There's one flight that goes to Philadelphia from Chicago at like 5:00, and they take over that whole terminal, and you just hear them going, "EA."
They sing their songs.
They sing their songs. They're all in Eagles gear. Eagles, and by the way, I grew up. My mom's from Philly,
Okay.
so I was an Eagles fan growing up also, and I didn't realize the rap they got until I got to a certain age, and all my cousins, my whole family are Eagles fans. Eagles and Raiders are like.
So we went to the Eagles Raider game
Oh
last
my
year in
God.
Philly on Christmas Day.
Oh my God!
It was 18 degrees. My dad's like, no jerseys, anyone, because my husband and his kids are Raider fan, but my dad actually let my son wear it.
Oh really?
And everyone was really cool because he was a kid. They were like giving him a hard time, but then they'd make a joke at the end. So I appreciated that because my dad was worried. But then I saw like nice looking people like us with him. So.
I brought my two cousins, my fucking dickhead Philly cousins, to the Rams Eagles game.
Oh, yeah,
When Carson Wentz hurt his leg, I think the Eagles won regardless, and they were in our section, full decked out in Eagles gear, and I watched my two cousins, who I love dearly, who are respectable human beings, turn into the most horrific Eagles fans and behave and and I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you two? And they're like,
were they obnoxious?
Bro, we're Eagles fans. What are you gonna do? I mean, it was like so crazy. That is fucking there could be a sitcom based around an Eagles fan and a Raiders fan marrying and having children.
So we went to that wedding.
Oh, shut
Last
up.
summer, my husband's friend actually married a girl from Philly randomly, and we went to the wedding, and it was hysterical because, like, during the dad's speech, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Eagles," and then like
How
during
funny.
the groom speech, I was at the Raider table, unfortunately. They'd be like, "Raiders!" Like in the middle of the
that's
wedding, you just
so
hear
crazy.
like people start cheering. It was the funniest thing how they incorporated football because she's super into it and a huge Eagles fan.
It's super enjoyable.
like,
it
yeah.
really is super enjoyable to watch from afar. It really is fun as fuck. The biggest problem I think that happens with, and I think this goes on with Dodgers, this goes on with the Rams too, is like diehard fans who don't have much going on in their lives that go there to start problems, and look, that happens in every sport, but I think Raiders and Eagles get a bad rap for it because, you know, for like everyone's a passerby Rams fan. There is no passerby Raiders fan. There is no passerby Eagles fan. Everyone in Philadelphia is an Eagles fan. Everyone in Oakland, Los Angeles, and now Las Vegas are Raiders fans. Like it is, and so like for the Rams, everyone's like, yeah. For the Bucs, they're like, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I go to their games, but it's real fandom.
It's a different culture.
It's like Manchester United.
Well, they just need to smoke the peace pipe, and then everyone can
There
get
you
along.
go. Have some shrooms
This is
and have a
really
good time.
awesome. I'm glad I showed up at the tail end of this.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
me
am
too.
I wish that it was not. I didn't have 15 days away. I think my first, because I got 15
Well,
days
the good
of
news
sobriety.
is like you can get Ease delivers it when you're done, or you can go to any store like within a walking distance, you know, from our I'm sure there's some stores around here.
I go to Sweet
Flower.
Flower.
Yeah,
Sweet
right
Flower
at
is
the
my favorite place. I took Leanne there. That's where she got those edibles that made her see starbursts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was it. I don't know. I wish. I don't like trial and error. That's my problem. Is that I go, well, now I'm going to spend another night not sleeping, trying a different
Right.
I think what
formula.
you should do.
I hate that.
I think what you should do personally.
Mm-hmm.
I've always found that getting high and going to bed is not the answer for me.
Right.
It's getting high at like 5 or 6 or 7, and then being high and then letting it trickle down and just falling asleep and letting it be in your system and then take you into sleep.
Maybe. I mean, I don't
Same
know.
with Xanax. If I take a Xanax and lay in bed, I all of a sudden I'm like
It's also your mindset. Like if you're willing to give in to the relaxation, you know, do you have a lot on your mind? Or you
Right.
what do you
saw Starburst might be my favorite.
I did. I kept going, am I really seeing that? And I'd open my eyes and I go, they're definitely not here now. And I closed them and it was like I had a black screen in front of my eyes and it would just go choo, choo.
You should have listened to music.
Choo, 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 choo. I didn't really think about it. I was just
it's different. It's like the cannabis version of the spins. You know, and you're like,
By the way, I've had the cannabis version of the spins before.
Okay, so I have to close my eyes to sleep. But when I close my eyes, I keep seeing things that I can't sleep. So how do I sleep? Yeah,
That's hard.
But whatever. I love the CBD products that I've used, all of them. I sent my dad some, like in Georgia. I was like, just try it. It's just amazing stuff. So anyway, I learned a lot. I learned a lot today. Thank you so much.
my pleasure.
I'm going to start
Thank you for
cooking
all
my
our
lunch.
goodies.
Yeah, thank you very much. I can't wait to use them.
And it was nice to hang out.
Yeah, this was great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So High on the Hog, the podcast.
Yep.
Check it out.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
You know what we got to do is we got to do a podcast where we come over and do your
Yes.
podcast and get Leanne stoned where fucking bejesuses.
Okay.
We'll start out and then like see how it
Yeah,
goes.
we'll just microdose
We'll just have a
you.
bucket
We'll
just in
watch her and
case.
see how she progresses.
Yeah.
And wait for her to start vomiting and be
Right.
like, all right, it only took 8 minutes.
At least there was a delay this time. No. I'm joking. I don't even remember how long it took me to vomit all the other 4 times. But I remember at some point in the progression of the evening.
You were also drinking
I was
during
sick.
all those times.
No, not
But
all
there
of
will
them.
be more research. So this disease called Cannabis Hyperemesis, they're all of a sudden, this woman is like aggregating all these stories and getting them together and finding the doctors who can figure out
what it is.
and the woman who has it is like, she was an edible taster. So like that was her job.
You know what? That's so funny. Not to keep this podcast going forever because I could.
Yeah.
But like there's also something that happens where people that have been smoking a lot of it get it. Correct?
I think it
'Cause
could, yeah. They're
I have
not
a friend, I won't say his name, who got it and he had
Yeah.
to stop eating marijuana.
Yeah. It just all of a sudden, like they don't know enough about it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
it's this whole syndrome apparently,
Right.
which is fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. Interesting.
God damn it. Now I'm going to go be sober. Make myself lunch. Thank you
All right,
very
go
much, guys,
munch
for
out.
including me.
Thank you.
Also,
You're
don't touch this
welcome.
marijuana.
Go have the munchies.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.